Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Steve. Today we will be making turnip cake, or also known as Lo Bak Go. Lo Bak Go is made with this daikon. Daikon, Japanese call it daikon, Chinese call it lo bak. It's basically a white turnip. It's very mild in flavor. It can be used for many things. People can make kimchi out of it. You can make soups out of it. You can put it in stews. There's so many uses, but today we're going to be making a rice cake with it. And what we're going to need today is a couple of Chinese sausage that you've probably seen before and used. We have a bag of rice flour, the red label one. It seems to be like universal, you know, that anywhere in the world rice flour is a red bag. And not glutinous rice flour, because if you use glutinous rice flour, it'll result in a very chewy cake. So what we need is a bag of rice flour, which is about 400 grams. We also need some dried shrimp. Now this dried shrimp is packed with umami flavor. What we're going to do is we're going to soak it for about half an hour, and then we're going to dice it up into small pieces for this recipe. We also have some green onion that we've chopped, and this is the chopped dried shrimp. We also have about half a pound or 250 grams or so of minced pork. We're going to need some water. We have some salt, and then we have the utensils that we'll need for this recipe will be a knife, something to peel the daikon with, a whisk, and a pair of scissors to open the bag. So I feel kind of like Dexter. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open our bag of rice flour, and we'll be putting it into a bowl. We'll be adding 2.5 cups of water to it. Give it a gentle stir. So basically what we're doing is we're creating a rice slurry. And after we've fried up all the ingredients, we'll be adding this to our final mixture to thicken up and create our dough for our cake. Okay, put that aside. So next thing we'll do is we already have our shrimp has been chopped up, green onions, we have our pork. So let's cut up our radish. First thing we're going to do is cut off the ends, and we're going to peel it. Okay, let's give this a good rinse. Be right back. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to julienne this into like fine strips, probably less than a 1/4 inch, and that's all we need to do. I've seen recipes where you're grating the daikon and it takes a lot of work, but this really is a very simple recipe with only a few ingredients, and I'll show you how simple it is. So first we're going to slice it thin, and then we line it up, we flatten it a little bit, and then what we're going to do is we're going to julienne. All right, we're going to put that into a bowl. Okay, so our daikon is all cut up. Next we'll cut up our Chinese sausage. I cut it in half. I cut that in half, so we have a bunch of different quarters. You often find this dish in dim sum restaurants. We rarely order it when we go for dim sum because often my mom makes it and then she would just bring it over and we get like, you know, pans of this stuff to cut up and pan fry. So we tend not to order it when we go out, but if you want to make it at home, that's what we need to do. So okay, so our Chinese sausage is cut up, and The other thing that we're going to be using today will be these bread pans, that we're going to grease up with a bit of oil. We're not going to be using cooking spray because there's something in the cooking spray that will actually eat away at the Teflon nonstick coating over time, and you'll see it peels off, and that's part of the reason. So I'll just put oil, and we'll just use a brush, and we're gonna grease the pan that way. Okay, so we have all our ingredients ready. It's time to head over to the stove, and we'll fire up the wok, and we'll show you how to put all this together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be pan frying all our ingredients together. We'll add our daikon in here, we'll add some additional water, and then we'll bring that to boil for about 5 minutes or until the daikon is semi-soft. And then we're going to add our rice slurry that we made earlier to this and thicken it up to create the dough. So here we go. Heat up our wok nice and hot. We'll put in a couple of tablespoons of oil. Okay, so we're stir frying this. Wait till all our meat is done. Get the pinkness out. Add our green onions. Okay, let's break up the pork. Pan frying nicely. Here we go. We'll add our daikon now. And we're going to add a tablespoon of salt. We'll add 3.5 cups of water to this. Okay, we'll bring this to a boil. We'll let it boil for about 5 minutes, and then we will thicken it with our rice slurry. Okay, so what we've done is we've boiled this for about 5 minutes. And you'll notice that the carrot is now opaque in color. It's no longer white, so it's pretty well cooked. And what we've done is we've waited for about 5 minutes now for it to cool before we add our slurry. Otherwise, once we add our slurry, it's going to become really, really thick and really, really hard to manage. So let's add our slurry, mix it up. What we're going to do now is, now that it's all thoroughly mixed in, we're going to turn the heat on a little bit, and this will help to thicken it until it reaches a texture of almost dough-like. By adding a little bit of heat, this will start to thicken a lot. And that's pretty well it. Pretty straightforward, very simple ingredients. Very easy to make. Now we're going to put it into our molds, and once we have our molds, we'll steam it, and then once it's steamed, we'll cut them up and we'll pan fry them, and then we'll have our Lo Bak Go ready to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this into our greased pan. As you notice, I'm using a bread pan. I like the bread pan because it creates a nice rectangular shape, and so all your cakes will be nice and rectangular. If you don't have one, you could always put it into a round pan, into a round cake pan that you can use, because all we're going to be basically doing is steaming this, and then you just end up with a different shape. So there you go, a pan of Lo Bak Go ready for steaming. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this in a steamer, and we're going to steam it for about 45 minutes. Okay, so now we're ready to steam. I have a wok of boiling water here with a stand in there, and we're just going to put that in there, and we're going to steam this for about 45 minutes. And once it's done, we will take it out, and we're going to refrigerate it overnight or a minimum of 4 hours so that it will set before we can cut it and then pan fry it. So our turnip cake has been chilling for the last 4 hours in the fridge, and we're going to take it out. What we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the bread pan and cut it up into slices, and then we're going to pan fry them, and then we'll give them a try. So the first thing I do is I kind of run my knife along the edge to kind of loosen it up a little bit, all 4 sides. And even though we greased the pan, it still kind of sticks a little bit. All right, so now we've done that. Okay, wish me luck. Let's see if we can get this thing to fall out. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here we have it. Our turnip cake. We're gonna cut it in half. And then we're going to cut them into slices. You can make them bigger if you like. You can make them thinner if you like. After we fry them, we're going to develop a nice crust on the outside. Okay, so this big piece, that one's for me. All right, let's go to the frying pan. Okay, it's time to pan fry the turnip cake. We'll turn on our heat to a medium. Get our pan nice and hot. We're going to put maybe a tablespoon and a half of oil in here. Around. Time to put in our turnip cake. And we get that nice searing sound. Now once we have a golden brown on either side, we can take them off out of the pan and we'll give them a try. So now they're brown on both sides. We're ready to give it a taste. They are ready. All right. Okay, so a little crust on the outside, nice and soft on the inside. Smells wonderful. Let's give it a taste test. Very nice. Give this a try. Let me know how it goes. Look forward to you joining us again in the next episode of Cooking with Steve.